Common Sense is a deep analysis to the global socio-economic issues from the point of view of real people on real time from the Sunshine State. This is Common Sense with Lex Marshall and JT.
Welcome to one more episode of Common Sense. I am your host, Lex Marshall, and today join us on the table my co-host JT and Mr. Jordan Cooper.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, gentlemen. How you guys doing?
Hello.
Doing good.
You doing good?
Excited to be here.
Yeah. Thank you for having us over once again.
Once again. I am so tired from last night. I couldn't sleep well. I went shopping. Walmart.
Okay.
And
You buy a gun?
no, I was afraid of getting shot.
You're afraid of getting shot at Walmart?
Yeah.
You're afraid of getting shot everywhere you go?
No, but it's just like subconsciously, insecurity, I guess.
Yeah.
No, it's going on everywhere. Every time I go to a store like that, I feel like someone is watching. It's like a new emotion, a new sense.
Who's
that,
watching?
Yeah, anybody. Could
So you're
be
just like, there's some guy with a gun over there that's staring at me? Like,
it could be. Don't you feel like that, JT? It's like something got awakened.
Yeah. I feel afraid sometimes. Well, I feel afraid to go to public places, like at concerts, like go to a game or, sometimes, especially after the shooting of Texas and the Walmart in El Paso. I get skeptical and I get afraid. And sometimes I used to go to Walmart on days, in the mornings, whatever you're going to do. But right now, I take my precautions and I park so far away from the store and always checking, just acting like somebody's following me, see what's going on, if there is a police present. And
so you want a walking distance to see if anyone's...
Yeah, and it's true. And it's true. I don't feel safe at all. And especially when this kind of ranting on TVs about Latinos and about racist comments.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do now is just, if I go to Walmart, I go at night. Go at night when it's less crowded.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my point of view on that, because we are minorities, and a Walmart, close to my house, there is a lot of black people that work in there. It's not just black people because they're black, just because they came from different nationalities and the right.
So that comforts you that there's
background.
black people?
But at least I feel a little bit safe.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing then.
So because it's less crowded.
But it's something, I think something psychologically speaking, something woke up. I don't know how to phrase it. There's a new feeling. There's a new, I don't know.
Just because of the mass shootings.
Yeah. Like for some reason, Latin people feel target. And
We have like ICE. Is ICE scary? Or no?
yeah. Something, I don't know how to describe it.
Or it's maybe not now, but in the future.
Right. And it's a part of the America's culture, owning guns. The thing is the Second Amendment was written a long time ago, and I feel like it's part of America, owning guns and play with guns and shoot guns.
Mm-hmm.
For me, guns doesn't bother me too much. I think it's the people behind, people who hold the gun, they gotta be accountable. I don't think guns, they shoot themselves. But I do believe it is part of the culture for me. I don't know for JT, I don't know for you. If it's part of the America's culture, why do we need a gun? Second Amendment states that it is for self-defense and preserve the free state.
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't mean anybody can have guns.
Mm.
You know, because not anybody is perfect mentally stable.
Mm.
I believe like there should be more regulations on how to test people psychologically. No, as soon as you turn 18, you go to a store and buy a gun. I don't think that's the proper way to do so.
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to be. I completely agree. I think you need to be 21 in order to own a pistol, or
I think it's 18 in
air-
Florida.
18 for
Yeah.
that, for a pistol.
I think so. But any gun.
Whatever.
I mean, doesn't matter.
You think it's all? I mean, I know at least in some states it's got to be a 21 to get a pistol or an AR-15. They're classified as different weapons. Once you turn 18, I think you can buy a shotgun and probably a bolt-action rifle. But yeah.
Yeah, but what do you need a gun for?
What do you need a gun? I mean, defense and survival. I mean, I think there's a lot of, with gun owners, there's a lot of fear about maybe the end of the world or the apocalypse. It's sort of a prepping thing. And so I have a friend who I've known since I was 5 years old, but he lives in a different city and he worked at a gun shop, and he's also worked with marketing with guns. He's done like online videos and things like that, and he's a strong advocate for gun ownership. And he said that AR-15s are like the perfect weapon for survival, for long range, short range. That if you're in a survival situation, that it is the gun to own. So,
I mean, I understand. I get it. Like, people like to own guns. I don't have any problems with that. But let me read you something. You know, this is the Second Amendment word for word. And it says, like, a well-regulated militia. I mean, we got to take this from the roots. The Second Amendment states that a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of the free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So, for you guys, what is militia for you guys? I mean, we got to get to the bottom of the Second Amendment. You know, militia, what is a militia for you?
I mean, I think the idea back then, a lot of people say that it's to defend against the federal government. I think probably more likely it was like, okay, if we get invaded, you'll be able to organize and defend yourself, which is what they kind of did with the British.
Well, I tell you what, for me, militia is an army.
Yeah.
It's an army. It's people that holds guns for the good of the state, of the free state. That is a militia. So, in case of someone tries to take over, yeah, you know,
be a lot more difficult.
We need a gun. Even for the government, if we need to defend ourselves from the government, yeah, I mean, guns are handy. But then it says, the right of people to keep and bear arms shall not be free. Okay, so that gives you the authority, not the authority, I would say like the privilege to have a gun. That Second Amendment, you know, gives you the privilege to own a gun. But then this law was written like a long time ago. Don't you guys think like we need another amendment that regulates or even legislative, you know, branch? We need another law that states how can you get the gun in your hands? I mean, because like right now it seems like anybody that turns 18 or 21 just, you know, without any test, go buy a gun. I don't think that's it. Because like then like sick people.
So for pistols and AR-15s, you have to do your own background check,
Right.
and then you bring that to the gun shop, and then they do their own background
Right.
check.
But if,
so there is some,
if you just turn 18 or 21, there is no background. There's nothing there.
And it's
In-
the
That's a
state
good
from
point.
state from state is different law. While you can buy a gun in Alabama when you get 16 years old, and it's hard to get a handgun in New York, for example, or California. So I think it's more than different state regulation.
yeah, there's a ton of laws.
Right.
It's
there is a
not
ton of
just-
laws,
And-
but
and I think
the
that-
people are still buying guns. I mean,
And I think the whole the way in it's just about the Second Amendment, and most of the gun owners, they want to, you know, and They want to preach in and say, oh no, this is my right to bear arms, because the second part of the Second Amendment says the right of the people. So that means you and I, whatever the citizen, you can have a gun. So the right, it's not a privilege, it's just a right to have a gun.
Right,
To
but
keep
you
and
can
bear
have
arms
those taken
shall-
away though. Like for example, if you go to prison, if you're a convict, you no longer have the right. So there's instances of losing your right. It's not like a definite thing where they can't take it away.
So it's not a privilege, it's just a right. But it says arms shall the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. But infringed, it doesn't mean that you cannot keep it or you cannot buy it. It says it's just infringe.
It's the right, like the government can't prevent people from buying guns because that's the right.
Yeah, but you can take away the right.
You can, but okay,
There's already
but the
instances
issue
of
here.
that.
The issue here is like people that just turned 18 or just turned 21 are able to get a gun.
It's a right to start out, and then they can take that right away. So I mean, it
But,
really
you know,
sounds more like a
if-
privilege.
Right.
That
and
you
that's-
start with.
That's what I
Yeah.
put it that way, because for me it's more like a privilege
I would
than,
say privilege is the better.
than the right. Now, those people, young people, you don't know if they have mental issues
Right, they haven't had the time to-
because they haven't been around for time, and how can government say, oh, this guy is eligible and this guy is not, when there is no background, nothing in the background that can prevent those people to get a gun. Some people are just sick, from
and like the young
Day
kids
one,
that do
yeah.
shootings, usually it's the parent that owns it,
Right.
And they get access to it.
Now, we have to realize here that you can get a gun even legally or illegally anyway.
Right.
If the government prevents you to get a gun, then
There would be a black market.
there will be there will
There'd
be a
like
black
a
market.
prohibition.
Exactly.
Yeah, but how many mass shootings have been occurred with illegal weapon?
I think
How many?
this is a good start to
None.
to right. Yeah, I think it's a good start to just enforce, the gun laws for now. I mean, I know we always have to deal with black market for anything. I mean, from electronics to drugs to guns, anything. There's a black market for anything nowadays.
Yeah, but I don't
but
think
it
that's a
could-
problem. It is a problem, but it's not for gun owners. The gun owners, the problem is the double moral of the government, because it's too much the influence that the media has on the TV, on the internet, that you feel afraid to lose your right or your privilege, whatever you want to call it. And the people get alarmed, and you've been blasting off of this internet advertising about you losing your right, and NRA pointed out all the time, oh, they don't want to keep a right to bear arms, you need to. But why the people are afraid to lose their guns? Why were they afraid? Because this is double moral of the government. That's what I think, and that's what I see every day on the TV and the media.
Yeah, here is a weird relationship between government. I mean, I will call it like relationship between gun laws, kind of obsolete. If you ask me, then I would say those laws are obsolete. Lobbyists, the NRA, that puts pressure on the legislative and judiciary branch, and then the electoral outcome. People that serving in office, public officials who serve who. I mean, those public officials, they got elected by citizens.
Yeah, but they don't
with-
work for the citizens.
with-
So there's a degree of corruption that keeps guns in the hands of citizens.
Because the public officials, they get elected by the citizens. Now, the citizens, they don't give as much money as corporations like the NRA.
Yeah, but the citizens are also being influenced by the NRA.
By the NRA,
The
so-
NRA pays the government for the
That's
citizens.
exactly-
they
that's-
produce propaganda.
Yeah, that's exactly
To conserve the type of legislation that allows you to have a gun and allows them to sell guns.
and
You know what I'm
that's,
saying?
Yeah.
So they get this amount. That was my question. And last night I was doing this research. It's about the NRA. It's called Civil Rights Defenders, right? But when that kind of profit ends, because they support all the gun owners. But at that point, you see the advertisements for NRA, this sponsoring for Western Mission. What is this name? I'm just crazy about this guns. 6 Hour, and you see these guys paying for that advertisement on the NRA. They call the Remington, whatever they subconsciously they selling a gun. Every time they speak, every time they go to
I don't
public,
even think
they
it's
selling you a
subconsciously. They're
gun.
getting paid to do it. They're lobbyists.
No, not subconsciously, but they're doing it, and they tell you to the public that if you vote against or you vote in gun regulation, they're gonna take your privilege away.
Yeah,
That's the scary part. That's the
fear.
double moral of the government
Fear.
and the lobbyists. That's what I think. And my question is, what do you need a gun? I mean, the high rate of suicides in the United States is so high, and everything is in most of the cases are a gun involved.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I know it's so heartbroken. See the mass shootings in schools and
Yeah,
like a
owning a
Walmart.
gun increases the likelihood of you dying from a gun.
Right.
It doesn't lower it; it
And,
increases it.
like
Right.
like I say, like I don't have a problem people owning guns. That is not my problem. People own cars, and cars kill people. Right?
But they don't
Yeah,
have
maybe
an
not as
intent to
many.
do it. They mostly because they it
I mean,
was an accident.
people have used
People
It's
use
vehicles.
It's
as a
different
weapon.
that you go to a
It
gun
doesn't
shop
kill as many
and
people.
doesn't no. But this is my problem. Like I think like my problem is the grown people owning guns. That is my problem.
The wrong people.
The grown people.
In
And
area-
who
in
is the
a-
grown people? People with mentally illness. People with like young people that don't know any better.
How old do you think you should be in order to own a gun?
I will say I'll be like 25 to 28.
I think that is somebody that is extensively background on their shoulders and they have the capability to handle a gun and
Yeah.
it's not necessarily training, but I think for me, owning a gun, you had to be like more expensive item.
You think it should be more expensive?
More expensive item.
Like,
so you hard to
like
reach
a
it.
luxury
Like a
item.
luxury item. You have to pay for it. If you want
it's
to
not
own a
necessarily
gun,
rich people that should be owning the guns.
No.
though.
yeah,
I
but
think
most
it's more
people,
like a
most
state
people
of
they can
mind.
afford a car.
Can we
Some people they can
Tax?
afford their bills,
owning a gun?
but you can afford $300 gun in Walmart.
It's the same thing. I don't think it's necessarily only the wealthy.
No,
That
but
should own
if
a
you
gun.
if you tax all gun rights,
But I think
Yeah,
they
but
make
all
you
you're
more
doing
conscious.
is increasing.
or
Okay, if you need a gun for self-defense, you have a handgun right in your house, or you need an I-15 for
An
defend yourself
AR-15.
from
Well, to get into the prepper thing again, they're not necessarily buying the AR-15 for the current state of the world. They're thinking if there is a significant change within their lifetime.
and I get that, and I really do. Like I say, my problem is not the gun itself. My problem is having
how
the
the
grown
access
people,
of
Smaller Do you think a smaller population should have access? It should really only be people that have been tested extensively and
no,
proven to be stable.
no, because if let's say if you pick 25 to 28 age for owning a gun, then should be already some in the record, something in the
I think
background.
by then,
you know who's who. I mean, there's more chances that you can point and say this guy have DUIs or has possession of narcotics or whatever. You're not gonna let that guy.
then you have like the Las Vegas shooter who seemed to be normal up until the point where he killed a
Right,
ton of
but
people.
that's when the mentally test will
But he
come
was
in.
on a-
but could you have tested that? Do you think you would have been able to tell that that guy was a total psychopath living out his life normally?
I believe so. Yeah, there's
How
gotta
do you
be
tell that? How do you?
There's gotta be a way to do a mental test that shows
That he's a
something is
psychopath?
now right.
I mean, like a physical test or like a conversational
Con-
interrogation?
Yeah, I think like by asking questions, psychological, like somebody, with
Some
a
type
degree.
of profiler.
Yeah, somebody with a degree could figure it out what's going on inside his
Why
head.
these people
I think
they're
that's a good idea.
taking antidepressant are buying guns? That's the question.
Yeah, because
Why?
like then you have these people that they constantly take drugs for something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I work with people that take drugs, antidepressants and sleeping pills and blah blah blah. So those people are under influence of some drug. First of all,
So you think if they're on psychological medication, then they shouldn't have
be.
access
No,
to it?
yeah.
If you
because-
any kind of condition,
because
that you get,
if you break with your girlfriend or you fight with your family, then is at some point there's gonna be a meltdown in your head that will trigger a violence, like a gun violence.
So if you're on medication for psychological thing, you're not allowed to join the military, right?
no.
Pretty sure. Do you think it should be a similar
It shouldn't-
standard
it
to
shouldn't-
joining the military?
It shouldn't be a good idea to join the army because then you're gonna get bad experience.
So you think it should be a similar?
Oh yeah.
If you can't join the military, then you can't own a
why
gun.
why you need a gun if you're
then, sure.
mentally unstable.
If you're mentally unfit for the military, then you should be mentally unfit for owning a gun.
owning a gun, and that's what we need to do as a country. We need to reinforce the Second Amendment, because the Second Amendment is right. I'm not having nothing against Second Amendment. Second Amendment, people should have the right to keep and bear arms, but it doesn't say what kind of people. So it's for us to decide what kind of people should keep and bear arms, are fit for. Yeah. Don't you think that?
Yeah.
For what is the policy, for gun control? My policy is that, having somebody increase the age you can get a gun. That was that and have a mentally test, so government will say you fit for owning a gun or you're not.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think it should be. I don't know, my opinion doesn't count against millions of people with different opinions, but that's just my humble opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's 1 million people that
I mean,
they say
millions
that's
of people
my right
is
to
gonna
having a
disagree
gun.
with me, but honestly, I think that should be. And I'm talking about just when you legally acquire a gun, legally. Like I say, it's gonna be a black market everywhere. You'll be able to find a gun if the government says you're unfit for gun rights.
Right.
They're gonna be.
So let's say the world does end, probably be able to get a gun then.
Right, but what I understand is
you don't need it for civilian life, but you could probably, if we had to defend ourselves from an invading country, you'll probably be able to find a gun.
But how long can you defend yourself with a gun? And
Right.
Let's say
Is it even an effective way?
Right. Let's say let's put yourself in a scenario where in the end of the world is going on.
Right. What type of
apocalyptic,
end of the world?
Oh yeah. Well, like zombie apocalypse.
Zombie apocalypse, you definitely want a gun.
Okay. You have
Nuclear explosions,
Right.
like nuclear fallout.
anything.
The government doesn't even exist anymore.
Right. So you need
want
a
a
gun.
gun.
Okay.
You want a gun.
And it's fine. From that point, you should have your magazines and your ammo somewhere stored, right? How long do you think that's gonna last you?
I mean, it depends on the specifics. I mean, what do you think? You should just kill yourself? What's the alternative to trying to find a gun?
Well, I mean,
the
you're
question
eventually
is the
gonna run
same.
out of ammo. So
Okay,
Well,
the question
might
is the
as well
same.
have it.
Even-
Might as well have it.
in Texas,
well
in
just
Texas, in Las Vegas shooting, nobody has the time to fight back. This president says in Orlando shooting, oh, if it was this guy in front of in the bar or whatever the pulse was, a discotheque or I don't know. And he says, oh, if we were able to, fight him back in a moment, that way that guy will be dead. And this is crazy. In Las Vegas, it was a concert. Nobody has the chance to fight back with a gun. In
Yeah,
Texas,
yeah.
in
Somebody has long
Walmart,
range, there's no way you
nobody
could shoot back.
has the chance to, run to your truck and get your R-15 that you carry on
I
and
don't
fight
think that's,
back to
that's
this
not what
guy.
an AR-15 is for.
Doesn't matter. It was an
was
assault
that?
weapon.
I don't think that's what an AR-15 is for. AR-15 isn't like you're walking around and then there's a mass shooting and then you're going to run and get it and come back. AR-15 is like you're in your home and
Right.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
It doesn't matter- it doesn't matter the
JT's
gun.
point, like JT's point, is like even if you have the right to keep and
That
bear
any
arms,
gun wouldn't help in any
Right.
active
Anyway,
shooting. I think
if-
there's some active shootings in which it could help. Maybe
right,
not every
but,
all of them, but
what I'm trying to get like JT's point, if you own a gun and then all of a sudden you find yourself in Walmart with the shooter, then your gun is at home, so there's no
well,
point.
I mean, you have a concealed carry.
Right, and even if you have the gun, let's say
With you.
like how many people really
In
carry
Texas,
their guns with
carry
themselves?
guns.
How many people? What?
How many people carry them? Carry a concealed weapon on
There's
themselves.
a lot of people.
You think?
Yeah.
I mean, I have a lot of
Not
friends.
everyone,
Not
but
everyone. No. I
There's
mean,
people out there.
yeah. And what
I
are the
mean,
chances?
My friend I mentioned, he takes a gun everywhere he goes.
And
To show it off.
No, he doesn't tell people. I mean, he works in retail, and
Mm.
the type of retail he's worked in, there's been people that come in and shoot people.
and that's why
He lives in the Rust Belt, and there's a lot of gun violence.
and that's why
there.
he wears or carries the gun. But
Yeah.
people like us, even if I do have a gun, which I don't, I wouldn't carry anywhere that I go. I mean, it's just trouble.
First, because, as I say, minorities have the less probable cause, to get arrested. You got it.
So you think it's more of a risk for you? You
Mm-hmm.
get arrested.
For any minority, they see you and they're gonna look at you and what's going on. What would you do if you see people carrying a gun?
Well,
What
I
do
mean,
you think?
the
What
idea
is your
that you
first
conceal
thing?
it, though. I mean, I think it's illegal though. Like, I mean, unless it's an open carry, I think you're
Okay,
supposed
yeah.
to not let people know. that
All
you
right,
have a
but
gun on you.
my point of view is this: what do you think? If somebody, maybe you don't know the people, but on the streets, for some reason you see his
I
gun.
think it's
What is you thinking?
It's a
I
perception.
don't want to see their gun.
I-
They should
yeah,
continue.
I
Yeah,
think
but
it's
if you see,
but
what is
JT
your
But
reaction?
how do I feel about the fact that
What
people
is
are
your
walking around
reaction?
with guns?
Yeah. What is your reaction? Except for
I mean, if we stereotype people, then in segregate,
I mean, you're probably interacting with people all the time that have a gun on them, and you probably don't even realize.
you don't even
no,
know.
I don't think so.
You don't
I
think,
don't think so.
You don't
no.
think you have come
I
across
don't think so.
someone
If
with a
you
gun?
go on the subway and you see somebody with a gun, you will be very comfortable.
No, but you won't know. You won't know.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, in the case you see them,
Yeah, that's why they do it concealed. Open carry states are weird.
Right.
it doesn't. It
I'll
doesn't
say
matter.
that. It's weird. No,
It-
it does matter. If you're walking around, you see a guy like with a holster, and you're in a Chick-fil-A, and he walks up and he's got a gun on his belt. And there's little kids running around, and he's just
Back
got
in
a
the day,
gun.
That's my question.
Yeah, it's
But- yeah.
weird. I don't
For-
like open carry.
Yeah, back of the
So
day.
he got an assault rifle like around his back, and he's just walking around like
Yeah, that's really weird. That's
it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. One back of the day, I had this delivery guy that he carried a concealed weapon. I mean, he wasn't showing anywhere, but he told me like, "Oh, I got a gun." I was like, "Where?" And he showed me. He didn't pull it out and showed it to me.
showed
He
it
just
in
like
the holster.
right, and I'm like, I mean, he's fucking freak, And I didn't feel comfortable anymore after he said that. I didn't feel comfortable anymore because I'm thinking like this guy's gonna get, some sort of mental breakdown. Is gonna start shooting people. But that was,
Anyone. You worry about anyone.
Anyone, yeah.
Anyone.
but that's not the case. The guy was working as delivery for a company.
I mean, it's a small percentage of gun owners
It
that
is. It really, but
end up committing
like
crimes
the
with.
question is here, like you don't want to know who carries a gun and who no. I mean, you don't want to know that.
Yeah, but you come across as somebody that is working, in kind of dangerous. For example, delivery guys, I don't blame them for carrying a gun, but as a regular citizen, you're walking out with the street with your dog or with your kids, and you see somebody
But it
for
definitely-
any reason open carry, conceal, but you for some reason you got to see this gun.
But I really
you will
felt
be
different
scared.
from
That's
the
my point.
Yeah, I really felt different from the point when I
changes-
didn't know.
Yeah, it changes the interaction that you're having with
When I
them.
didn't know that he got a gun, I felt totally different. When I knew that he was carrying a gun, I was like, shit, I don't want to get shot. This guy.
So you gotta be more
A little
polite
bit
to
nicer.
the people.
A little bit nicer to them.
Of course. But from the perspective of the
creepy
regular
laugh.
people,
No,
It's pretty
seriously, like,
creepy.
yeah, kind of. But I did change the the way I was, talking to him, the way I was looking at him, because he had he said like, oh, I get all sort of looks, and I don't feel safe. So I carry the gun for my own safety. Okay. That
Think he feels paranoid?
I think so. He was a little bit paranoid, but that is his safety. What about my safety?
Well, you'd probably say, well, I'm well trained and I'm protecting you.
Whatever. Okay, what happened with the people that they cannot carry a gun or they cannot have the privilege to carry a gun because of their mental health? Mental health is not only for rich people or for crazy people that they wants to harm another people. Just because they have a condition. For some reason, they're weak. They cannot think for themselves.
Wow.
And you be in a situation where you defend yourself, right? And what about the other people?
I would rephrase it.
Okay. We can rephrase it later. A question for you, too. What will happen if guns will become illegal? Do you think that...
I don't think that's a good idea.
Will that even happen?
You don't think it's a good idea to make that completely?
No, completely no.
That it should become more difficult.
Yeah,
but
to
don't
get a
rid of
gun
them completely.
and to get an ammunition, it has to be regulated. If you own a gun, that's fine. You get to the point to having a gun, right, in your home for defend yourself or your family. It's fine. I'm fine with that.
But you
I'm
shouldn't
okay
have
with that.
10,000 rounds.
Of course. What do you need more than 10? Yeah.
You have a limit to the amount of guns that you own.
Limit
Of course.
yeah, like that guy from Las Vegas, he's got the whole arsenal.
Right.
I mean, he got like, 5, heavy duty weapons and pistols. And
Yeah.
See,
Ammo,
I have.
See, that is an abuse of what the Second Amendment is. Anything.
But
see,
there would be arguments.
Anything that is
there
an
would be
abuse.
I mean, there would be arguments like it still holds to the prepper, right? It's like, well, when the apocalypse comes, you're going to want me to have 10,000 rounds. Is the answer?
So you're gonna keep him from the end of the war?
Yeah. It's the same thing as having like a basement with a bunch of canned food.
Right, but
It's
listen,
the same idea.
Mr. Cooper, listen to me. If we go into the zombie apocalypse, then you'll have these 10,000 rounds. Either you run out of rounds shooting all these zombies, or you run out of food, or you run out of supplies, or you get a disease. There's so many things that can kill you at that moment.
You're just saying humans are done for. Don't even try.
Probably, like once.
Well, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe there's only like 10 of them in the neighborhood. You clear it out and then you're good for a while.
For a while.
Yeah. But everyone's good for a while. We're all going to die eventually.
Right. So why do you need 10,000 rounds?
So we're going to die eventually. So why try to protect yourself?
Right. Just use the rounds to kill yourself at that point.
No, I don't think it's any point on saving ammo for the end of the world. And I think it must be regulated. You need to. It's not only background do you do when you buy a gun. So I think maybe in 6 months you change. Maybe you got a depression. Maybe you got fired from your job.
Right. So you got to be able to take it from someone.
All right. But it's a 10% maybe chance to do it. Then go to the store and buy another case of ammo. Oh, because I like
buying ammo is easy, man. The other day I went to Walmart and buy ammo just to see
Aren't they changing it? Aren't they changing it to where they're no longer going to sell it or something?
No, they don't sell the gun, but they still sell you
the
ammo.
ammo. Yeah, like you walk into Walmart, you tell whatever is behind the counter, hey, I need that and that and that. Just give it to you.
They're gonna ask you
Just
for.
give it to you.
Nah, they're not.
No
no
background
questions.
check for ammunition.
Not for ammunition. No.
So what
No
do you need
questions
so
asked.
many rounds? You're gonna hit 10,000 deers.
Maybe they go the range a lot because it's a hobby.
No, I think what's happening there is like either
You know what I mean? What if
resellers,
it's a hobby?
retail people, they don't care how many ammo they sell. They just want your money.
What I think is this: after every mass shooting in the United States, the gun sellings is high skyrocket. Everybody wants to get a gun.
Gun sales.
And that's where the NRA gets their privilege because the gun companies, they sell guns, they give you money to the NRA, so the NRA goes to the government
and lobby.
So they keep advertisement, they keep selling guns. I mean, it's their business, but it's bad business for all of us, or at least for minorities.
Minorities are doomed.
What? What, just in general?
And yes,
No. But the gun sales, gun legislation, gun laws, gun privilege.
We can get into white supremacy and guns if you want to. Is
Yeah.
that what you're talking about? White supremacy? Is that what you're worried about, or what?
I'm not to the white supremacists. Yeah, I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about anybody with a
you
that is
should.
mentally unstable. I think those guys, the white
Yeah, but
supremacists,
you're specifically
Right, but-
saying minorities.
right?
they know minority. The white
Minorities,
supremacists, they know
mi-
minorities.
Yeah, no. but I'm
minorities
just saying,
feel disadvantaged.
in gun ownership?
Yes,
In what way?
because not everybody can own a gun.
So you're saying it's more difficult for minorities
Oh, yeah.
to acquire a gun?
Yeah,
than-
because
Stereotype,
like
racism.
government stereotype people. Even for the cultural level,
And there's
the
no
people
law
have.
that you can't own a gun.
I know, but that's how government works.
I mean, if you don't fail the background check, then you're allowed to purchase the weapon. And there's a lot of minorities that own weapons. So perhaps somewhere down the line there could be a difficulty, but I mean, you could probably get a gun if you wanted one.
I got scared, and I tell you that's why the minorities are in disadvantage. When I watch this, and the problem with it was the white supremacists involved, and the president Donald Trump, he says there were fine people
on both sides.
that were very fine people on both sides. That's what is scary.
Right. So Donald Trump emboldening.
The neo-Nazis started this
White
thing.
power movement.
They
Right,
showed up
yeah.
in Charlottesville. That's the real transcript. Trump, excuse me, they didn't put themselves down as neo-Nazis. Oh, they should.
Yeah, but
And you had some very bad people in that group, but you also had, but they were very fine people on both sides. That's what
yeah,
scared
but
me.
we all know on the table, right here on this table, we all know that the president of the United States somehow empowered certain type of people to be in power, to be
Yeah.
like that.
And he supports
we knew,
He supports guns.
we knew that from the very beginning, and we knew that the guy was going to act like that. So, yeah.
So
there you go.
you're concerned. I mean, there's a pretty big population of white supremacists within the United States. They're starting to get emboldened by Trump. There's starting to be some conflicts within the government of, let's impeach Trump, and then he's saying that there could be a civil war, and there's probably people that. Now, I'm not saying there's going to be a civil war, but I'm just saying he's telling people that you may have to use your guns to defend me, right?
Well, it
And
could
that's
be.
why-
And that's a very,
It could
very
be.
dangerous narrative, though.
yeah, absolutely.
It is very
So
dangerous.
it's not necessarily
narrative
that there's
because-
going to be a civil war,
mean,
but there could be an
from-
increase in shootings
from
white supremacists.
from fake news narrative and what are you saying right now? I think we are like in peril. We have to be very careful of what we listen and what we think, because this guy is just saying things, but some people are, the way they approach those things they are approaching it very seriously, and I don't think that narrative is safe for anybody.
No.
We're gonna go to people's reactions, and Jason Douglas say the argument that guns don't kill people kill people is moronic. We can control who goes crazy and who wants to commit mass murder. We can and have the moral obligation to control what they can use to do so. So what this guy is saying is like, we can't control people from buying guns, but we can control crazy people.
How?
Better mental health programs.
Yeah, better ways to.
I've heard that
yeah.
argument before. Well, it's just like
Most of these people that have this condition, they can't afford mental
yeah,
health.
yeah. Well, in other countries, so we have a unique situation in this country. We have way more gun violence, so it's way more people have access to guns, and then we have a privatized healthcare system, which
So-
is unique to the modern world. I mean, pretty much everyone else has a free healthcare system,
And this is a big country, and the lobbyists,
so it's
they
a lot
don't
more difficult to get access.
they don't worry about
to mental health.
No, they more worry about just selling guns and to give money to the government. Any government. I don't talking about Republicans. I don't talking about Democrats. I speak in general because I don't have.
Chris
Just
Murphy
crazy.
says, how about focus on mental health rather than try to change the laws? And that's what I always been saying.
How do you do that? How do you focus on mental health?
If you implement more,
If people don't have free access to it, then it's like,
but
how
if
do
if you really want a gun legally, so then you have to, do more steps.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So require
Difficult.
people to
Right.
go through
They make it
is
difficult to own a gun.
It is like, you want to drive, but then you have to get driver license. But you just can't go to DMV and get a driver license. You have to pass a test, right? You have to pass
that's good.
the eye test.
It's good.
You have to go and drive.
Make it a requirement.
Exactly.
Not in Florida. In Florida, they driving like crazy. I don't think they have a license.
Oh yeah.
No, but for normal
No, they have a
people,
license. It's pretty easy to get a license.
but it's still as a test. Well, I mean, you still have to go to
yeah.
DMV.
I mean, but
Yeah,
it's not the same problem as the guns.
Do you think they should like take you to the range?
Yeah. you have to have
Like how long
basic
of
training.
How long of a period of time?
I will say about you can apply from the time you turn 21. From the 21 to 25, there's a pretty good chances of this guy do something stupid.
Right. So
or
would you say 25 is the earliest age at which you
Yeah.
should own a gun?
a pistol.
So let's
I will
say,
say like a pistol.
so you can
you
own
know,
a
like
shotgun
a-
or a bolt action at
Yeah,
18.
yeah.
But then
And then if
pistol or
you-
automatic rifle or semi-automatic
Yeah,
rifle.
if you're
when
like
you're-
bigger
25.
weapon, you'll wait
so
till
let's say
28,
you apply to get the pistol and the
21.
AR-15 when you're
28.
in your world.
In my world, I will say
25 and
21.
then how long
yeah.
of a process from when you apply to when you actually acquire
21
the gun?
should
6
be
months,
yeah,
a
no,
year.
21 should be when you apply to get a pistol. 21.
Okay.
You just apply. You're not gonna get it.
Okay.
You gotta go through training or test, blah blah blah. By the time you're 25, you'll be able to get the pistol.
So
Well,
you-
I don't
so you think you should have 4 years of training?
right, and then apply for bigger weapon. By the 28, then you should be able to get, any weapon that you like. But at least you have from 21 to 28, you got like 7 years
To train and shoot people?
to see
So
the.
let's say you don't apply, and then at 28 you decide you want a gun, but you didn't apply when you were 21. How long at that point?
What I'm saying is, you can apply for when you go to the DMV, you apply for a license. That doesn't mean you're gonna get that license the very same day.
So how long?
Whatever it takes you to pass the test.
So each person. Okay, so there's requirements. If you
For
can
me,
meet those
in my perfect
requirements
world,
quickly,
should be
then you can acquire the gun quickly.
right. For 21, you should be able to apply and
You can start working towards
right,
it at 21.
Right, at 21. Then by
But you're still
25,
not going to get
no.
it until okay.
until 25.
So let's say you're 28. You didn't start at 21, but you're able to meet all the requirements
Right.
quickly.
Right. Because
Okay.
you at that point, there's enough data on your background.
So essentially, you can get the license when you're 21, but you can't acquire it
Exactly.
until you're older.
Yeah.
I think you get more time to get ahead and think the things clearly. But I don't think it's probably to do that because, first you're gonna have training people on that matter. So at the time that you started to doing it, if you started doing something in your head, planning a shooting or something like that, you got 7 years before that happened. So you got 7 years to
Right.
planning ahead
So let's say you're
to be good
should be-
citizen.
right.
Then when you finally get a gun, then you go to your target and shoot him. I don't think it's quite right.
But should be enough data on the background that will allows the government to say this guy is kind of crazy, Should be enough data from the 21 year to the 28. Should be enough data to for the government to realize, who this guy is.
No, because this is the problem. It doesn't work. It doesn't work like that because that's the problem. The problem is the people that are good behave, they suddenly pops. They suddenly, go crazy.
like the Las Vegas guy.
Yeah, there was a perfect guy, was billionaire.
But you're saying you could investigate. So one of the
But-
requirements would be to be investigated by a psychologist or a psychiatrist.
But this is my thing, I know even if we change all these gun laws and the things I'm saying, we're not gonna eradicate mass shootings.
Yeah, you may be able to
But
decrease the number.
we have to at least decrease the number of mass shootings.
But I think it's too long the period of time that you wait for people to planning and execute. You're talking about like 7 years. It's too much. The people that go and train, if they got a mentality, destructive mentality.
But I know they can play nice guys. I know
That's
that.
what the serial killers do.
But let's say like how long? Okay, put it to you this way: DEA, how long do they plan to actually carry out a bust? They plan for a long time.
Carry out what?
A bust.
Yeah, but this is different from DEA and drugs.
Right, but no, it's kind of the same thing. Like, the DA, when, like someone says or someone does something drug related, the DEA just don't go and bust people. They don't go and make and do raids, do they? They study who is the whistleblower and they study where the information came from, and then get in the same page.
So they do an investigation.
They do an
before
investigation
they take
before
your guns away.
Right. So
is what you're saying.
Right.
So you're saying if guns became illegal, they would do proper investigations. And
I'm
get
not saying that the
warrants
guns became illegal.
into the
Like
home.
if someone there's a red flag on certain people
Okay.
application.
So constantly,
Right.
gun owner constantly reinvestigate if need be, and take away their gun
Right.
if they start stepping
I
out
put it
of
to you.
line.
I put it to you this way: someone who owns a gun, the way I say it, like somebody bought a gun when he was 21, and then got the gun when he was 25. That's fine, but he plans to carry out a mass shooting soon. Then he gets pulled over for possession of marijuana, right? Then at that point, that privilege of owning a gun will be taken.
Taken away. What about self-defense? I can argue.
Do you think you should have to
self-defense.
do a review like
In a-
every
in a-
year?
Yeah, at that point when this guy gets pulled over, yeah, it should, like, somebody needs to review.
But even if you don't get in trouble, do you think you should stop in every year and have an examination? just to keep your license
because
going?
then that implies more public resources, budgets and
too
stuff.
expensive.
Yeah, it's too expensive. What I think is that will substantially decrease the amount of mass shooters. When you make more difficult for people to get a gun. Now, Jason Douglas says, can someone find weapons on the black market? Yes. Can we stop every act of violence? No. But the Second Amendment was written when we only had muskets.
But that's my concern. We are ruled by old folks.
Okay, hold on a second. Second Amendment was written when we had like dinosaur guns.
So you're saying because of the improved technology? So you're saying we shouldn't have guns at all because they're too powerful now?
I think they'd be more regulated.
or just more regulated because the guns have changed.
I
Right.
think so.
Sure.
Just look at it. Back in the day, we had these guns that they require like to almost, assemble a bullet inside the damn thing. Mm-hmm. Just pull, the igniter and then pull,
It was less of a public threat.
gunpowder, cork, and then
Right.
give it a good shock.
Right. So you think they weren't imagining a semi-automatic rifle?
No, I don't think that the
With
founding
30 rounds
fathers.
that can-
I don't think the founding fathers had a
vision
AR-15
for
in their
the-
heads. I don't think so.
Those guns kill a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't think like George Washington and Jefferson all in company they will picture like AK-47 on their minds.
Or is that impossible?
This is
Not
impossible.
supposed
No,
to-
because this is a serious topic, dude.
Yeah.
Gun control. This guy Terry Lanche. That's weird. The Second Amendment is only a right when you don't abuse it. Stockpiling weapons used only to kill in a mass murder numbers is an abuse and it needs to be moderated. And then it was just like what JT was saying, or who was saying, like buying excess of weapons. That's just insane.
Where we are victims of our own success.
What about the guns that are already out there?
They should keep it, but I think it should be regulated. I think you.
So let's say we have higher standards by which you can own the gun, right? And that cuts out a significant portion of people that already own a gun. How do you get those guns from those people?
You can. I mean, what's done is done.
So it's just like new gun sales
Right.
Yeah.
meet these standards.
Yeah,
but
you
if
can
you
just
already
go-
have a gun,
Yeah, you just
Then
can
you
go
keep
back
it.
and
you keep
say,
it.
Then you'll definitely will have some sort of triggering a civil war if you want to try to take those guns that people already own. Then that's going to be a
So
problem.
you can't do that.
Nah, I don't think you can do that.
So it can still be private sales.
Yeah.
So it doesn't do all
I mean, what you
much.
can do is like a campaign, like a government campaign, and try to say, you don't need that many weapons, and some people will turn those weapons.
Yeah, but the NRA is
That doesn't
too
sell
much of an
guns.
influence
Right.
to
Yeah,
get the
I
government
know.
to.
Because I've seen on some of the states, some people actually thinking is that I don't need this much of weapons, and they were turning weapons in.
We're dealing with unhappy people, so I don't think it's easy. It won't be easy just because we have the media in the back, and they're bombing us with this kind of information that is wrong, and that is right to have an arms, that is right to having a gun. What I don't think is right, you need to arm a teacher so they can teach and at the same time defend themselves or defend their
Here's
children. That's crazy. That's crazy thing. I think the politicians, they have to be more accurate and regulate guns because they're affecting. I mean, if you had children and you send them to the school and you be worried about them.
Do you think they should have higher security? Not the teachers, but maybe, a lot of schools have one police officer, maybe you have 10, and then you have
No, I'm against all that.
But
don't
it
increase
doesn't
security
work.
presence.
How is it going to work? They can, wait the buses outside
You
and
have
shoot them.
you have gates, you have
No.
That's like
trying
pushing,
to fortify it.
I think this
It's
is
either
more
too much
deeply.
of a government presence or a military presence. You don't want to
no,
I don't want any
it
of
more
that.
doesn't
soldiers.
work.
No,
No.
school is a school, and just have a school as school, and not have a school with the police and armed forces. We don't need that. We need
I mean, you have that in certain countries.
right, but this in America is weird.
We are in the free country. We're in a free country,
Yeah,
and
in
then
America
you have
that's
to
weird though. Like having police officers in school.
search your bags, and
on,
now in one of those counties in Florida, they're gonna search you, or if you videotaping or something like that. That's crazy. How you don't allow to people to have a snapshot from your kid inside the school, but you can substantially allow to teacher to having a gun in the premises.
Here's
Crazy.
one comment. Scott Moore says the only thing that will change the gun laws is money. What we needs to happen is an anti-gun group needs to funnel as much money into Congress and politics than the NRA. That's the only way anything is going to happen. Money is the language of politics, and the only way anything is going to get done.
So anti-gun advocates
So more money.
need to raise
More money.
that can
More
compete
money.
with the NRA.
Exactly.
More money.
I
do you
don't
think?
think that money's not coming. Who's that? What
I mean,
donations?
just hypothetically speaking, I think that could be something that will
They
change.
have so much money.
Right, but
They have
I don't
so
think
much money.
it's hard to compete with an NRA.
Yeah, I don't think that'll ever happen. I think there's always going to be more money on the side of the gun industry than anti-gun.
I don't
advocates.
think it's of seeing gun regulated law soon. I don't think so. I don't think the government is more worried about to keep possess of the presidency of their whatever they're elected than the security of the state as citizens.
Just to wrap it up, for my own point of view, we know gun control, like I say, is not the guns, it's the people behind the guns. So let's make more difficult for people to buy a gun, obtain a gun, have serious steps. How can you get a gun? That's my point. Just make it more difficult for people to get a gun. decrease the amount of crazy people owning guns everywhere.
I'm agree, and I vote to that.
You, Cooper?
Sure. Yeah, I agree with that.
So we're on the same page. Wow. Well, we're on the same page for
first time?
For the first time.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm
You
impressed.
expect me to say? You expect me to say no? Everyone should have a gun. Everyone.
Maybe, who knows?
If you don't have a gun, then you are a communist.
That was back in the 60s. It didn't work, but
Well,
it's okay.
I mean, let's count. Okay, this will be fun. Right before we leave, this is a way to make it fun at the end is come up with your own marketing plan to sell more guns to people. Even though you don't think, how do you get everyone to buy a gun? Just for, all right.
feel like you
JT, give me your campaign right now.
I'll give you mine. I give you
go
mine.
for
Like,
it.
yeah, we'll start
Voice
selling.
it.
Yeah, we'll start selling tacos, and every taco that you sell, you get a gun.
You're just giving them away. How expensive is the taco?
It's gonna be pretty expensive.
No, you want them to
But
buy
you
it though, because you want their money.
Right.
How do you get more people to buy guns?
That's going to be on the other side, but
Just for fun.
Just
How do
for
you
fun.
sell people more guns?
fear and insecurity is a big seller.
But voice it. Like
Yeah.
you're doing a radio show.
Yeah,
Let's say
let's
you have a gun company say, "Hey, I will pay you this much money if on your podcast
Yeah.
you tell people that they should buy guns."
Conspiracy theories. There's another thing that will work. Zombie apocalypse. The end of the world. Democrats taking
So
over.
you never
liberals.
know. You never know. The world could end.
Yeah. And
So
let's
get out.
buy as much ammo and guns that you can because this is gonna get ugly.
Right.
And
Right.
from the point of view of politics, like liberals, will say liberals are way too liberal, and you can't have those
They're
people
trying to take your guns away, so you might as well buy them now.
right before
Because just they said, like,
Exactly.
if you already have it, then you're okay. But
security and safety.
to buy them right now.
Right. That's a big seller. Safety and security. You want a gun because you want to be safe in your house, and for anything that happens out there, could be the end of the world, could be liberals taking
wanna
over,
be prepared.
communists, yes. And obviously, none of that things are going to happen in my lifetime. I'm pretty sure about it.
Let me tell you, guns are sexy. Guns are sexy. Muscles can get you the girls. You know what else can get you the girls? Guns.
No.
Girls love guns.
No. They love money.
No, some do actually.
Some
yeah,
do.
Some do.
Some
do.
do.
I've seen
Girls that like money.
I know. I've seen pictures on Facebook or whatever.
I mean,
and
not in the bad sense. I mean,
like
people
nice-
will
You can treat
think that
good. You can treat good.
you can
lady
show
with money.
people your
Right.
wealth with your
and
guns.
I know. I've seen pictures like hot girls in bikini shooting guns on the range. That's pretty hot.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some sexy women out there with guns, and they're not going to date you
So
unless
she can
you have
carry
a
you?
gun, too.
Exactly,
That
yeah.
she
You better
can
shoot
carry
it
you?
well, so you need to buy a lot of ammunition and the train.
Yeah.
Show off to those
No,
beautiful
if
girls.
they really look sexy, And
Yeah.
You guys are
Yeah.
sick.
ten top and with a big ass rifle. I think that's sexy.
You need to be able to protect your wife.
Yeah.
What kind of a man can't protect his wife? You
I have
better
a
get
dog.
a gun in order to do that.
I can train my dog in my house, and I got an alarm.
But it doesn't
Dogs
do any
aren't
good.
sexy.
Yeah, it doesn't do any good.
Not as sexy as a gun.
Right, the dog's gonna get shot.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's our show for today, and thank you for joining us. Thank
See you
for
next.
joining us, and remember to check us out on Facebook, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. This has been Common Sense Podcast. Thank you very much. See you next.